Hello, my name is Jack Brivogel. I've been reading Educated. Um, so some of the aspects of context within the book. So we start off with the main character being Tara. She lives in this small town, right? Small town where she's raised by her father. Her mother's really not around, and she's very isolated within this town. She grows up not going to school. Um, she is read the gospel by her father, and her father is, well, her father, he has some issues. So he's like kind of bipolar, right? So he has a lot of insane out there ideas of what um his religion means, of how he wants to preach it, of how he wants to live his life. They live a very simple life. This is seen as Tara works at the not the she works at the, oh my god, the dump yard. So she has a lot of hands-on experience. There's a lot of backstory within her family. They live right by a mountain. A lot of beautiful like ways the author explained the mountain, like how the trees are like the woman in the mountain, like Mother Nature almost. How the trees are like the hair, and there's like winding, and she explains how they used to hang out and roam around the mountain all day, every day with each other, all the siblings. But as she starts hanging out with her grandmother more, she starts getting the idea, I want to go to college, I want to pursue an education. And this is kind of hard for her because she has no preconceived knowledge of what it means to be educated, right? So she goes out into the world, leaves her family behind, and starts to pursue college and a new education. And I think some of the context in there is where she lived, how she grew up, what she was taught when she grew up, how she lived her life. Very hands-on, away from people, very isolated, huge family. But something in her clicked where she said, okay, this was fun, but I can be so much more with an education. So she goes out, and there's a lot of things that happen to her where she's like, I don't know, this was normal, like I didn't think this would be a problem. But now she's in the state where she has to do normal things like wash her hands, after going to the bathroom. And I think she thinks this stuff is kind of weird, but she doesn't really put it off. Her father's very extremist about how he views the world and religion. Because she said they all waited for the abomination to come, which I can only imagine is like the apocalypse in regular terms, when the sky falls, and So she's very isolated, but she grows up in the college, right? Or she grows up and goes to college, and she sees a lot of new perspectives, gaining knowledge, and then understanding that she was taught false narratives by her family, and that really makes her think, is religion just a vehicle to control her mind and not pursue this education? So I think it's very important to think about where she grew up, how she grew up, the people that surrounded her giving her these false ideals about what life is really about. Because at the end of the day, her father is still mentally ill. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when you're growing up without an education and somebody with a mental illness is giving you this type of information and that's all you know, I think it becomes the danger of a single story. And with the danger of a single story, without the pursuit of an education beyond your preconceived notions about what life is, I think it becomes dangerous to the point where where Tara is at this crossroad between, am I going to pursue this education, or am I going to be dragged into this life where I'm given the information that maybe it's not all what I think it is, and you have to just live by that and work by that and live the simple life, you know? So I think Tara going to college and experiencing what it means to actually be the person she wants to be is important. And I also think there's some gender expectations that were put into her mind by her father and by her siblings, because women are supposed to be, obedient. They're supposed to cook, clean, listen to what's told to them. And I think by her stepping out of her comfort zone and rebelling against her family, I think it really showed like a big character development, because it takes a lot to say screw my family, the people that raised me, and then go on to be something that they pushed against. Their family pushed against education. They didn't trust doctors, they didn't trust teachers. Her father was talking about how literally the teachers are preaching the devil's worship, right? So he was basically saying you're worshiping these false ideals, which, how do you say that when the abomination is coming and you think the mountain is alive, So I think her becoming more independent in that way helped her a lot, but also having that experience of not being educated and seeing what that life is like was very important for her to almost form her own opinion and create her own life. Because Tara, she experienced emotional abuse, false ideals, physical abuse, lack of financial status. And I think all these different bits of context contributed to her success and her growth, by stepping out of her comfort zone with all the preconceived knowledge she had about what life was like uneducated, and then becoming educated in a world where she really didn't know existed, So I think all the information and experiences contributed to her success in becoming an independent person while stepping outside of her comfort zone.